Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of FanFic Breakdown. I'm your host SmashKing24, and today I am doing the episode Solo. This is a series where we normally talk about your favorite Super Smash Bros. And other Nintendo-related fan fictions. And normally I do have a partner working alongside me, Ellie, but the reason why she's not with us this week is because the story that I'm going to be reviewing just happens to be hers. And whether she likes it or not, I'm going to be talking about it. And I figured that at some point we were going to be reviewing each other's stories during this series. So considering our list of what's coming up is a little on the short side until we get some more fan fiction ideas on what to review, I figured we would just stick this one in here right now. I kind of already left the formal review on the story that I'll be talking about this episode though, so feel free to go look at it there. I'll leave a link in the description. And it's because of that reason that I'm going to try and keep this episode brief, because I already left a written review on her original story. So if I can keep this less than 10 minutes, that'd be great, and I've already wasted a minute talking about the introduction. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm going to be reviewing Gone Away Like JFK, the Redux. This is the new version, or the rewritten version based on her old story from last year. And that's by LegitElizabethWWEFan, as she's formerly known. And this is a Super Smash Bros. Alternative universe story. Now, for those of you who aren't sure what AU is, it's basically taking characters from a canon established universe and putting them in a universe completely different, while trying your best to maintain the same characters. So the plot of this story goes, the word count is 35,000 words, by the way. I just want to put that out there right now. We want to say that just so everyone's already aware before they dive into the story, just to know how long it takes. So it should take you about an hour to an hour and a half of your speed reader. Nothing too much. So anyway, the plot. It goes something like follows. President Marth is assassinated by a mysterious gunman, and it's up to the Smash Bureau of Investigation to bring him to justice. On their mission, they encounter many strange characters, including the president's wife and former associates, who lead them to believe that President Marth's life was anything but sunshine and rainbows. So right off the bat, the opening of the story starts off with Marth, who is the president of the United States, but it's not the United States, it's Smashville. That's where the story takes place, which is a universe parallel to our own United States of America, where we have presidents and rulers and countries and crap like that. So Marth's the president, the same Marth from Smash Bros. And Fire Emblem, and he gets assassinated, much like John F. Kennedy did all those years ago. That's kind of where the inspiration for the title came from. Plus, it's also based on a song, I believe, because that's how Ellie kind of likes to write her stories. But anyways, so Marth gets assassinated in the very first chapter. It's not really a spoiler because it's the first chapter, and it's basically what the whole story is based on. This one important event where he gets killed, and it's up to the Smash Bureau of Investigation, or the SBI, to figure out who did it and stop this madman from doing whatever else he plans on doing, or bring him to justice, however you want to put it. So as for characters in this story, of course we've got Marth. There's not really much to say about him though, because he dies. We don't really learn too much about his character on his own. It's through the other characters that we meet in the story where we get to learn a little bit about him, and that he's kind of not this great, as great of a person that he's made out to be. He's made out to be a great person, as all presidents usually are. Most presidents, I should say. But as we go along the story, we see characters talking to other characters who did know him and his life and took part in his life. We see that he kind of did have a darker side to him. Not really a darker side, but a side that would probably make him look pretty bad in front of the public. So there is some kind of part to Marth that isn't already established, and we kind of learn about it as the story goes on. And one of the characters that helps us do that is Keita, or Sheeta, who is Marth's love interest from the Fire Emblem game. She is the First Lady, his wife, in this story, and she's kind of in the same realm as he is in terms of characters. Most of the characters in this story, I felt I really enjoyed reading about Keita as a character, because she kind of had most of the development as the story went on. And by that I mean she comes off as a person who's, she's happy all the time, it's great, she's in love, and then we learn that she has a darker side to her that the SBI kind of pry from her, or they get, as they're investigating and they do interviews. And she does some things behind Marth's back, but she learns some things about herself as the story goes on as well, which to me makes her a pretty strong character in comparison to a lot of the other characters that this story introduces. And by a lot of the other characters, I'm mostly referring to the characters that make up the SBI. So we've got Ike, Snake, Samus, Shulk, Robin, and Lucina, who are our main SBI members. And they've all got their own abilities and traits that make them stand out and make them good at what they do. Like Lucina's their front man when it comes to doing interviews, and then Robin are the technical analyst, the technical specialist with computers. They're all really great. They're great at working as a unit, even though they might butt heads every now and then or run into a problem. They're always good at finding a compromise and getting the job done. That being said, in terms of their personality and backstory, there's really not a lot that the author gives us to work with. As far as I know, they're all just members of the same organization. They go to work every day. They're good at what they do, and that's pretty much it. I don't really know too much about anyone's relationships with each other. We know that Robin kind of get this flirting, playful banter thing going on. Lucina and Shulk also have something going on. But in terms of where they come from, how they were brought up, any struggles they encountered along the way, nothing really changes in their character from beginning to end of the story, which is why I say that they're a little shallow when compared to characters like Keita, because there is no real development. They're kind of just the police. They're the police as characters, but I'm talking like police as in the police that you see in movies that show up to the crime scene and just do the investigation. There's really not much else to say about them. I mean, they do have their problems that they encounter during the investigation, and they're able to resolve them, picking up the pieces, doing all that stuff that you would normally find in a crime story. But in terms of their actual personal development, they were a little bit lacking. So whenever the story came to a part where we would talk about Keita and her love interest that isn't Marth, I won't mention who it is, but there is someone else involved with this story. And yeah, so when they talk about Keita, I felt that I was more interested in reading about her, just because there was something there. There was something there to work with, and something that she wanted to hide that the SBI wanted to know. But that was it. Like, by the end of the story, Keita kind of changes in herself and tries to make herself a better person after engaging in the activities that she did when Marth was alive behind his back. Whereas with Ike or Shulk or most of the other characters, nothing else really changes about them. They just go out and do their jobs, have a nice day. So the main characters in general, like the SBI members, I thought were a little bit weak when compared to, say, the president and the president's wife. But that didn't really detract from the story itself, because the story is mostly focused around the crime and them trying to resolve it. It's just that I felt that they could have been a little bit more fleshed out in terms of their backstory, because most of the story is pretty much just straight solving the crime. So if you're looking for something like that, then this story is definitely right up your alley. Now, onto the setting, like I said, it does take place in Smashville, which is kind of a modernized metropolis city, kind of like Washington, D.C., if you will, because the White House is there. I'm not sure where JFK was assassinated, but you can draw the similar parallels to our time and where this story takes place, because there are things like cars and guns and news reporters. So they've got all that stuff. That's pretty much where the story takes place, and it's a little bit more original when compared to the typical Smash Bros. Stuff. So good job there, Ellie. I thought that was a really cool thing to do. As for the theme, there's no real moral that you can get from this story. It's mostly just a crime-solving, mystery-solving story that if you want to read, if you're interested. And there is some kind of a scandalous thing going on between Marth and Keita and a few other characters that I haven't mentioned. So there is kind of like a backstabbing kind of, I don't know if you like, deceit kind of thing going on there. So it's not just like Scooby-Doo where they just go to solve the mystery. There's actual conflict in the characters between them. Not really talking about the SBI, but the actual characters they're investigating. There is some kind of conflict there. So So but in general, I would categorize this as basically a crime solving. It's very reminiscent of those like shows like Criminal Minds and CSI if you watch that. And the author really plays off of things like that in terms of like I could see a lot of this taking place like from one of those shows, and I think it's kind of realistic in that sense. I'm not sure how it would have gone down in real life after the assassination of JFK, but I can imagine it would go similar to how the SBI did it, because they're very well organized, and they kind of know what they're doing in a way, because there's parts where like Lucina would be talking to news reporters, and they would try to like get her to say something or try to get information out of her that she either didn't know or wasn't supposed to say, but she kind of knew it anyways. So that kind of goes back to what I was saying about the characters knowing what they were doing or being good at what they do. I kind of wish that the characters just had a bit more, you know, personality. It doesn't detract from the story though in any way, honestly. Like the story is still a pretty cool adventure from beginning to end, and it's also a little bit sad near the end once you get there. I won't really go into much detail. But I mean, even though there wasn't much room to talk about Marth, since he did die in the beginning of the story and the characters have to mourn for him, towards the ending it got pretty bittersweet and maybe a little bit depressing too. But overall it was actually really good, and definitely one of the more memorable stories I've read recently. So that pretty much wraps up the review. It's the story itself, I would probably give it like it's not the best story I've ever read, but it's still a good story, honestly. It's it's definitely not a bad story, because the story is kind of written it's written in a way that's really pushed by the dialogue and the characters. So if you're interested in the characters, if you're interested in just the crime that they're the crime solving stuff, then I would definitely recommend this one to you. Or even if you're into AU stories in general, this story might definitely be up your alley. So this is Gone Away Like JFK Redux, the Redux by LegitElizabethWWEFan. I give this story 2 thumbs up, and the SmashKing seal of approval, however you want to imagine that looks like, probably just like a smash ball symbol right there, boom, stamped right on the front, boom, maybe on Marth's face or something. So thanks for listening, everyone. If you like the show, then feel free to give a like or comment if you have a suggestion. We're being more open to suggestions now, because we're kind of coming towards the end of our list of stories we were looking at. So feel free to throw in a suggestion if you got one. Make sure the story is complete though, whatever story you're suggesting, and that it's unique in some way. And I'll let you be the judge of that though. So that being said, I guess that makes it the end of the episode, and I can't believe I actually did this on my own. So thanks for watching. Be sure to check out our other videos if you like this one. My name is SmashKing24, and I'm signing off. Happy smashing.